Rain hammered against the mansion gates as Nora stumbled out, clutching her torn bag. "Get out!" Mrs. Boma Lawson's voice sliced through the storm like a whip. "I don't ever want to see your face again, you ungrateful thing." Nora turned back, tears and rain blurring together. "Madam, please, I didn't touch your husband. I swear on my mother's life." But the door slammed. The iron bolt slid shut with a hard clang. That sound was final, like the universe itself sealing her fate. The night swallowed her whole. She stood there, drenched, shivering, as the mansion lights flickered off one by one. The same house where she had scrubbed floors, cooked meals, and cared for their child was now a stranger's fortress. She hugged her threadbare bag tighter. Inside were only 2 dresses, an old phone with a cracked screen, and a photo of her sick mother. Nothing else. She walked aimlessly down the wet street, thunder rumbling above. Every car that passed splashed muddy water on her skirt, but she didn't care. She just kept walking, until her legs gave way beside a dimly lit kiosk. "Madam, are you okay?" a street hawker asked, rushing to help. Nora shook her head. "No, nothing's okay." Hours earlier, she had been in that same house, folding laundry quietly when Chief Tunde Lawson entered the room. He was wearing only a towel, his body reeking of expensive cologne. "Ah, Nora," he said smoothly, leaning on the doorframe. "You've been working too hard. Come, let me thank you properly." She stepped back immediately. "Sir, please don't." But he reached for her wrist. "Don't pretend, Nora. I see how you look at me." She yanked free, her voice trembling. "Sir, respect yourself. I'm not that kind of woman." Before she could move, the door flung open. Mrs. Boma stood there, eyes wide in shock. What is happening here?" Tunde straightened up quickly. "She came on to me! She tried to—" "That's a lie!" Nora screamed. "He's the one who—" "Enough!" Boma's face turned red with rage. "I feed you, I clothe you, and this is how you repay me?" Her voice broke. "Madam, please listen. Pack your things and leave my house." And that was it. No second chance, no hearing, no mercy. Now, hours later, Nora sat under a half-broken umbrella beside a shuttered shop, hugging her knees. The rain had turned to drizzle. Her phone buzzed. It was her mother. She hesitated before answering. "Mama?" "My daughter." Her mother's voice was weak but loving. "You haven't called since morning. Did Madam give you your salary? The doctor said, I need that injection today." Nora's chest tightened. I'll send it soon, Mama. Just, please take your medicine. I'll figure something out." She ended the call quickly before her mother could hear her crying. She couldn't tell her mother the truth, that she'd been thrown out like trash, that she had nowhere to sleep tonight. The rain picked up again. She looked up at the dark sky and whispered, "God, what did I do wrong?" The next morning, she woke to the sound of passing cars and the smell of roasted corn from a nearby vendor. Her body ached, her stomach empty. She gathered her things and began to walk again. By noon, she'd walked nearly 5 kilometers, asking at every shop if they needed a cleaner. Every answer was the same. No vacancy. At last, she found herself near a hospital. She sat on a bench outside, weak from hunger. Her vision blurred, then went dark. When she opened her eyes, she was lying on a bed in a small clinic. The air smelled of antiseptic. A nurse stood nearby, adjusting an IV drip. "You fainted outside," the nurse said kindly. "A man brought you in. You're lucky." Nora frowned. "A man?" "Yes. He paid your bills too. Said he'll come check on you later." "Who is he?" The nurse smiled faintly. "He didn't say much, just signed as Mr. Kene Obiora." The name meant nothing to her, but something about the calm way the nurse said it made her wonder. Hours later, as the afternoon sun filtered through the blinds, the door opened quietly. A tall man stepped in, early 30s, well-dressed, but not flashy. His eyes were calm, but carried a strange sadness. "You're awake," he said softly. Nora nodded, startled by his gentle tone. "You're the one who helped me?" He smiled faintly. "I just happened to be at the right place." "Why would you stop for someone like me?" she asked, her voice shaky. He paused before replying. "Because no one stopped for me once." Something in his voice made her curious, but before she could ask more, he looked toward the door. "Rest for now. The nurse will bring you food." "Wait," she said. "How can I repay you?" He turned back, his expression unreadable. "Live." And then he left. That night, as Nora ate for the first time in 2 days, her mind couldn't stop replaying his words. Because no one stopped for me once. Who was this man, really? She checked her phone. A message from the clinic accountant. "Your hospital bill has been paid in full by Mr. Kene Obiora. You are cleared for discharge." Her heart pounded. People didn't just do that for strangers. When she stepped outside the next morning, the same SUV she remembered from her fainting spell was parked nearby. The window rolled down. Kene sat behind the wheel. "Heading anywhere?" Nora hesitated. "You've done enough already." "I can't." "Then call it a ride. No strings attached." After a long silence, she climbed in. The car smelled of leather and faint citrus. She stared out the window as the city sped past. "Do you always help strangers like this?" She asked quietly. "Only when they remind me of something I lost," he said. "What did you lose?" He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Maybe one day I'll tell you." They stopped at a small restaurant. He ordered rice and stew for her, insisting she eat. As she ate, he watched quietly, occasionally glancing at his phone. Multiple messages from unknown numbers, all ignored. "You don't talk much," Nora said finally. "Talking never changed anything," he replied. "Action does." She looked at him again, sensing something strange, an aura of power he seemed to hide deliberately. After they finished eating, he handed her a small envelope. "What's this?" she asked. "Your salary advance," he said. "I don't understand. I don't work for you." He smiled faintly. "Not yet." Nora blinked, confused. "What are you talking about?" "You'll see," he said. "Tomorrow, I'll pick you up. 8 a.m. sharp." Before she could argue, he was gone. Just like that. She opened the envelope later and gasped. 50,000 naira. Cash. She looked up at the night sky and whispered, "Who are you, Kene Obiora?" She didn't know that question would soon change everything she thought she knew about him. And herself. If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and drop a comment telling us what you think will happen next. Do you trust Kene Obiora, or do you think he's hiding something? Let's see your guesses below. The next morning, Nora stood by the roadside, still unsure if she should wait. Maybe Kene had been joking. Maybe men like him said things just to sound kind. But then, the black SUV pulled up beside her. Right on time, the window rolled down. "You're punctual," he said with a small smile. "I wasn't sure you'd actually come," she admitted. "I said I would." "Get in." She hesitated for a moment. Something about him both comforted and unnerved her. Still, she opened the door and climbed in. They drove in silence for a while. The city slowly gave way to cleaner streets, lined with tall palm trees and large gated houses. "This doesn't look like the part of town where people hire maids," Nora said softly. He glanced at her. "Who said anything about being a maid?" Her brows furrowed. "Then why did you give me money yesterday?" "You needed it," he said simply. "But I don't give out charity. You'll work for me. Just not the way you think." "What do you mean?" He parked in front of a tall glass building with silver lettering that read, Obiora Holdings, Ltd. Nora blinked. The name hit her. Obiora. Like Kene Obiora. Her heart skipped. "You're the owner?" He smiled faintly. "My father is. I just run things." Before she could find words, he was already walking toward the entrance, expecting her to follow. Inside, the building gleamed with polished marble floors, security scanners, and people in crisp suits moving with purpose. Nora's cheap sandals squeaked as she walked behind Kene, her eyes darting around nervously. "Relax," he murmured without turning. "You're with me." They entered a private elevator. He pressed the top floor. She fidgeted, clutching her bag. "Sir, what exactly do you want me to do?" When the doors opened, he gestured toward a sunlit office. "Come." The office was large but simple, floor-to-ceiling windows, elegant furniture, and a few framed photographs. One caught her attention, a younger Ken standing beside an older man in a wheelchair. He noticed her staring. "That's my father, the chairman. He looks kind," Nora said gently. Kene smiled, but it was bittersweet. He was, until the stroke changed everything. He motioned for her to sit. "Here's the deal, Nora. My father's condition worsened last month. He doesn't trust caregivers anymore. They steal, gossip, or leak family matters to the press. I need someone honest. Someone with nothing to prove." Her eyes widened. "You want me to take care of him?" He nodded. "Yes, live-in arrangement. You'll have your own room, meals, and a decent salary." "But why me? You just met me." "Because you remind me of someone," he said quietly. "And because when I looked at you, I didn't see fear, just pain. People who know pain rarely betray trust." His words lingered. Nora bit her lip, unsure how to respond. Finally, she said, "I'll do it. I need the job." Kane extended his hand. "Welcome aboard, Nora." Her fingers trembled as they shook. His palm was warm, firm, reassuring, but she didn't realize that single handshake would change the course of her entire life. That evening, Kane drove her to the family estate, a vast compound nestled in Ikoyi, guarded by tall iron gates. It wasn't just wealth, it was power, the kind you could feel in the air. Nora's heart pounded as they approached the mansion. Memories of Mrs. Lawson's house came rushing back, and she froze by the car door. Kene noticed. "You're safe here," he said softly. "No one will hurt you." They entered through the grand foyer. Marble floors gleamed beneath a chandelier. But unlike the other house, this place felt cold, beautiful, yet hollow. A stern-looking woman in a uniform approached. "Good evening, sir." "Evening, Rose. This is Nora. She'll be assisting with my father's care." Rose glanced at Nora from head to toe, her expression sharp. "Very well, sir," she said curtly before walking off. "She doesn't like me," Nora murmured. "She doesn't like anyone," Ken replied. "Don't take it personally." Later that night, Nora met Chief Obiora. The old man lay on a hospital-style bed in a private room, breathing through a nasal tube. His eyes fluttered open slowly as Kane entered. "Papa," Kene said softly, taking his hand. The old man's voice was raspy. "Who's that?" Kane motioned to her. "This is Nora. She'll be your new caregiver." The old man studied her for a moment, his gaze surprisingly sharp. "You look honest," he murmured. Nora bowed slightly. "Good evening, sir." He managed a faint smile before closing his eyes again. "Let's hope you last longer than the rest." Nora blinked. "The rest?" Khan sighed. "Don't worry about that. Just focus on him." But later, as she prepared the old man's evening medication, one of the older nurses whispered to her, Be careful, girl. The last 2 caregivers ran away crying. That old man, he knows how to dig into people's secrets." Nora frowned, unease settling in her stomach. Secrets? What secrets could she possibly have? Days turned into weeks. Nora settled into a quiet routine, feeding Chief Obiora, reading to him, helping him exercise his hands. He spoke little, but his eyes seemed to observe everything. Sometimes he would ask strange questions. "What do you fear most, Nora?" She'd smile softly. "Failure, sir, and losing my mother." He'd nod, studying her face like he was searching for something deeper. Meanwhile, her interactions with Kene became frequent and confusing. He was kind, but distant, generous, but guarded. Some nights, she'd find him sitting alone in the garden, staring at the fountain. "Why do you always sit out here?" she asked one evening. He didn't look up. "It's the only place that still feels real." "What do you mean?" "My father built this house with his hands, before the companies, before the fame. He said the fountain reminded him that everything flows. Fortune, power, even love." She watched him quietly. For the first time, she saw not a rich man, but a lonely one. "Do you miss your mother?" she asked softly. He tensed slightly. "She left when I was 13. I'm sorry." He smiled faintly. "Don't be. Everyone leaves eventually." His words made her heart ache, because she knew that pain too well. One afternoon, as Nora cleaned the study, she noticed a framed photograph on Kene's desk. A woman in her 20s with warm eyes and a familiar smile. She froze. That woman looked just like her. Her heart raced as she picked up the frame. The resemblance was uncanny. Same face shape, same dimple. Kene's voice came from behind her. "Put that down." She spun around, startled. I'm sorry, sir. I was just..." His expression was unreadable. "Where did you see this?" "On your desk," she said nervously. "She looks like me." He stared at her for a long moment. "Her name was Ifioma, my mother." Nora's breath caught. "She looks exactly like me." "I know," he said quietly. "That's what scares me." "Scares you?" He took a deep breath. "Forget I said that. Go help Rose in the kitchen." But as Nora left, her mind was spinning. Why would he be scared of someone who looked like his mother? That night, she overheard raised voices in the hallway. "I told you to stay away from her." It was an older woman's voice. Rose, the head housekeeper. Kene's voice was sharp. "You don't tell me who to talk to." "She looks just like Madame Ifioma. Everyone sees it. The resemblance is too much." "Then let them talk," Kene snapped. "She's here because father needs her." Rose lowered her tone. "You're playing with fire, sir. People will misunderstand." Nora froze behind the wall, her heart pounding. What was happening in this house? The next morning, Chief Obiora asked her to open a drawer near his bed. Inside were old photos, Kene, his mother, and another young woman Nora didn't recognize. "That's her," he said, pointing at the stranger. "That's the girl who ruined this family." Nora frowned. "Who is she?" He smiled weakly. "Kene will never tell you, but you remind him of her, too." "Of her?" He nodded slowly. "History has a way of repeating itself, my dear." Before Nora could ask more, Rose walked in, ending the conversation abruptly. That evening, as she prepared to retire for the night, Kene knocked on her door. His expression was serious. "I need you to come with me," he said. "To where?" "Just trust me." He drove her in silence through the dark streets until they stopped at an orphanage building, old but well kept. "This is where my mother used to volunteer," he said quietly. "And where she died." Nora turned to him, stunned. "She died here?" She was found in one of the rooms, lifeless. They said it was an accident. I never believed that. Her breath caught. You think she was murdered? He looked at her then, eyes filled with pain and something darker. I think the same people who hurt her might still be around. Lightning flashed in the distance, and for the first time Nora realized she wasn't just a maid anymore. She was standing in the middle of someone else's buried secrets, someone powerful, someone dangerous. The wind howled outside the orphanage as Kene's words lingered in the air. Nora's throat felt dry. What do you mean by that? She whispered. Kene's jaw tightened. My mother died 15 years ago. They said she slipped and hit her head in the orphanage kitchen, but... He glanced toward the dark hallway. That same night, there were reports of a fight. Someone deleted the CCTV footage before the police could see it. Deleted? Nora's brows furrowed. By who? Kene exhaled slowly. The records pointed to one of the board members, a man named Chief Tunda Lawson. Nora froze. Lawson? Yes. You know him? Her stomach twisted. He was my former employer. Kene turned sharply toward her, eyes narrowing. The one who accused you? She nodded shakily. A shadow crossed his face. Then this isn't coincidence anymore. Her heart pounded. You think he had something to do with your mother's death? I don't know, Kene said quietly. But every road I take leads back to him. The silence that followed was suffocating. Outside, thunder cracked again, like the heavens confirming his suspicion. He turned to her. You remind me of her because you are the same kind of woman. Strong, truthful, and fearless in a world that rewards liars. She looked down. I don't feel strong. I lost everything. Not everything, he said. You still have your dignity. That's something most people sell too cheaply. They left the orphanage and drove back in silence. When they reached the estate, Nora hesitated before stepping out. Kene, she said softly. If Chief Lawson was involved, what are you going to do? He looked out at the rain. Find the truth, and when I do, I'll make him pay. There was something cold and dangerous in his tone, a darkness she hadn't seen before. The next morning, Nora was preparing breakfast for Chief Obiora when Rose entered the kitchen, her voice sharp. You went out with Mr. Kene last night. Nora froze. He asked me to accompany him. Don't play innocent with me. Rose stepped closer. You think you can waltz into this family and take what doesn't belong to you? Nora's heart raced. I don't understand what you're talking about. Oh, you understand perfectly, Rose sneered. You think you're different from the others? That you can charm him? I've seen your type before. You'll end up destroyed like the rest. Her words stung like acid. Nora set the tray down carefully. I don't know what you think, but I'm here to do my job, nothing more. Rose leaned in close. Then keep it that way. As she left, Nora's hands trembled. There was something deeply personal in Rose's hostility, something that felt like more than jealousy. That afternoon, Kene entered the sitting room, dressed for a business meeting. I'll be gone for most of the day, he said. Can you stay with my father? Nora nodded. Of course. He paused before leaving. And Nora? Yes? Be careful who you trust in this house. The warning unsettled her more than he realized. Later, while cleaning the study, Nora noticed a drawer slightly ajar. Curiosity tugged at her. Inside were several files labeled Foundation Records, Kene Obiora. She hesitated, then pulled one out. Inside were donation logs, signatures, and handwritten notes. Her eyes caught one line circled in red ink. Transfer of N 2.5 million, authorized by Chief Tunda Lawson, board member. Her breath caught. Lawson again. Suddenly, the door creaked open. Nora jumped, the file slipping from her hands. It was Chief Obiora. His frail frame leaned against the doorpost, but his eyes were sharp as knives. "Curiosity can be dangerous," he said hoarsely. I wasn't stealing, sir," Nora stammered. "I was just—" He raised a hand weakly. "Relax, my dear. You should know by now. Nothing stays buried forever in this family." She swallowed. "Did you know Chief Lawson?" He stared past her, as if seeing ghosts. Kene's mother trusted the wrong people. When she began questioning the finances of her charity, they silenced her. I tried to fight them, but the truth is a dangerous thing when it threatens powerful men. Tears stung her eyes. "Does Kene know this?" He gave a faint, bitter laugh. "He thinks he does, but revenge blinds him. He doesn't see what it's turning him into." "What do you mean?" "You'll find out soon enough," he whispered. Before she could ask more, Rose entered. "Sir, it's time for your medication." The old man nodded, but his gaze lingered on Nora. "Be careful, my child. You're walking through fire, and you don't even know it yet." That night, Nora lay awake, replaying his words. What did he mean by fire? Why did Rose hate her so much? And what was Kene really planning? Her phone buzzed suddenly. It was a message from an unknown number. "If you value your life, leave that house tonight." Her breath caught. She stared at the screen, frozen. Who would send that? She stepped out into the hallway, glancing around nervously. The house was silent, except for the faint ticking of the grandfather clock. A shadow moved near the stairs. "Kene," she whispered. No answer. But then, a figure emerged. Rose. "What are you doing up?" she demanded. "I heard something," Nora stammered, "and I got this message." She held up her phone, but Rose's expression didn't change. "You should listen to it," Rose said flatly. "Some warnings are gifts." Then she turned and walked away. Nora's blood ran cold. The next morning, Kene returned home early. His face looked strained, his usually calm demeanor replaced with agitation. "Where's my father?" he asked. "In his room," Nora said carefully. "Is everything all right?" He ran a hand through his hair. "Chief Lawson called me this morning. He said he wants to meet. Privately." "Are you going?" He hesitated. "I have to. If he's hiding something about my mother, I need to hear it." Nora stepped closer. "Then let me come with you." He looked surprised. "You?" "No, it's too dangerous." "I've already lost everything once," she said quietly. "I can't lose another chance to know the truth." He studied her for a long moment, then sighed. "All right, but stay close. Don't talk unless I tell you to." They met that evening at a secluded lounge in Victoria Island. The air was heavy with cigar smoke and power. Chief Tunde Lawson sat in a corner booth, older now, but still commanding. When he saw Nora, his expression shifted. Recognition, followed by smug satisfaction. Well, he said. "The little maid. Still chasing rich men, I see." Kene's jaw tightened. "Watch your mouth," Lawson chuckled. "Ah, the mighty Obiora boy. Just like your father. Always trying to be the hero." "Tell me about my mother," Kene said flatly. Lawson leaned back. "What's there to tell? She was a saint. Too good for this rotten world. But good people make enemies." "You were one of them," Kene accused. Lawson's smile faded. "Careful, boy. The truth might destroy what's left of your family's name." "I'm not afraid of the truth." Lawson's eyes flicked toward Nora. "You should be, especially her. If only she knew who she really was." Nora's breath caught. "What are you talking about?" Lawson smirked. "Ask your savior here. He knows." Kene's face went pale. "Don't listen to him." "No, Kene," Nora said shakily. What does he mean? Who am I? Lawson laughed. You really don't know. Oh, this is rich. He leaned forward. Your name isn't even Nora. She froze. What? You were registered under a false name at the orphanage. The same orphanage where his mother died. Nora's knees went weak. That's impossible. Lawson grinned darkly. Is it? Ask your dear Mr. Obiora how he found you so easily. Kene slammed his fist on the table. Enough! But it was too late. The seed of doubt had been planted. The drive back to the estate was silent. Rain blurred the windshield again. A cruel mirror of the night everything began. Finally, Nora spoke, her voice trembling. Is it true? Kene didn't answer. Tell me, she cried. He pulled over abruptly, gripping the steering wheel. Yes. Her heart broke. Why didn't you tell me? He turned to her, eyes filled with torment. Because I didn't know how. You were part of my mother's foundation as a child, one of the orphans she sponsored. When she died, you disappeared from all records. I thought you were dead. Her hands shook. So, what am I to you? A memory? A project? No, he said softly. You're the only part of her goodness that survived. She looked at him, tears streaming down her face. You lied to me, Kene. You said you just found me. He swallowed hard. I had to protect you. If Lawson knew who you were, he would have killed you too. Her breath caught. Killed me? Why? He looked away. Because the money he stole was transferred under your mother's name. And you're the only living proof left of what he did. The world spun around her. Everything she thought she knew was crumbling. Her name, her past, her identity. Nora wasn't just an innocent maid anymore. She was the missing key to a powerful man's secret. And now, every side wanted her silenced. If you've been following this story closely, drop your thoughts below. What do you think will happen next? Can Nora survive the storm now that she knows who she truly is? Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this story if it's keeping you on the edge of your seat, because what's coming next will change everything. The night was heavy with rain as Kene's car rolled silently into the Obiora estate. The air inside the vehicle was thick, not just with humidity, but with tension. Nora sat rigid in the passenger seat, staring out the window as streaks of water blurred the glow of the city lights. You should have told me, she murmured, her voice low, tired. Kene's knuckles tightened around the steering wheel. If I had, you would have run away, and I couldn't let that happen. Let that happen? Nora's voice cracked, the calm breaking. You make it sound like I'm some kind of project. Was any of this ever real? Kene turned slightly, eyes burning with frustration and guilt. You're not a project, Nora. You're the key. The only one who can expose everything Chief Lawson buried. Nora's laughter came out hollow. Expose what? That my life was built on lies? That I've been nothing more than a shadow in somebody else's story? Silence fell again, the kind that stretched between them like a wound. When they arrived, the mansion seemed unusually quiet. The guards were gone from their posts, and the windows were dark. Rose appeared at the top of the grand staircase, her face drawn. He's asking for you, she said quietly. He refused his medication until you returned. Kene and Nora exchanged a worried glance before rushing to Chief Obiora's room. Inside, the old man lay propped against his pillows, sweat glistening on his pale forehead. His breathing was shallow, each exhale sounding like it cost him strength he didn't have. Papa! Kene moved to his bedside, gripping his hand. Chief Obiora's eyes flickered open. Lock the doors, he whispered. They know. Kene frowned. Who knows? The ones who took Ifeoma. They're coming. For the girl. Nora froze. For me? The chief coughed violently, his body trembling. Find the ledger, he rasped. The truth is inside. The ledger. Before either could question him further, his breath caught in his throat. The monitor's flat line filled the room with a haunting tone. "Papa!" Kene shouted, shaking him. "No, no!" Rose gasped from the doorway, tears filling her eyes. She clutched her chest as if her heart had given way. Kene tried desperately to resuscitate him, but the truth settled fast. Chief Obiora was gone. Nora stood still, her hands trembling. The man who had promised to reveal her mother's secret had taken it to the grave. Then Rose spoke, softly, almost to herself. "He warned me this would happen, if she ever came back." Kene turned sharply. "What are you talking about?" Rose met Nora's gaze, her expression breaking. "You shouldn't have returned, child. You were never meant to step into this house again." Nora's voice wavered. "Why? What are you not telling me?" Rose's lips trembled. "You are Ifeoma's daughter." The words fell like thunder. Kene froze. Nora's breath hitched audibly. "That's not possible," she whispered. "My mother." Rose shook her head. "Before Ifeoma married Chief Obiora, she had another child. A baby she was forced to give away to hide the scandal. You were that child, Nora." The silence that followed was unbearable. Kene staggered back, disbelief flooding his face. "That means we're half-siblings," Rose finished, her voice cracking. "Two children bound by a mother's silence." Nora's knees weakened. "No, no, that's not true." "It is," Rose said, stepping closer. "You have her eyes, her fire, the same stubborn spirit." Kene backed away, voice shaking. "This can't be happening." But before anyone could say more, a loud crash echoed from outside, followed by gunshots. Kene pulled Nora to the floor as glass shattered across the hallway. "Get down!" he barked. A black SUV skidded to a stop in the driveway, headlights cutting through the rain. Masked men jumped out, firing toward the mansion. "They found us!" Kene shouted. He reached beneath his jacket and drew a pistol, one Nora had never seen before. Nora's eyes widened. "You're armed!" "They're after the ledger," Kene said urgently. "We have to move, now." They sprinted toward the back corridor, ducking behind pillars as bullets tore through the walls. The security lights flickered, then died, plunging the house into darkness. Rose screamed somewhere down the hall. "They've cut the power!" "Basement!" Kene yelled. "That's where the backup generator is." They raced down the stairs, flashlights trembling in their hands. The basement smelled of dust and rust, lined with old trunks and covered furniture. Kene shone the light across the wall until it landed on a large painting of Chief Obiora's portrait. Beneath it, a faint outline of a safe gleamed in the concrete. "This has to be it," Kene muttered. He keyed in a code, but the lock beeped red. He tried again. Nothing. "Let me try," Nora said. He frowned. "You don't know the code." But Nora was already pressing the buttons. A fragment of memory, a soft lullaby, a voice humming a pattern of numbers danced in her head. Her fingers trembled as she entered. 2106. The lock clicked open. Inside lay stacks of papers, flash drives, and a single leather-bound ledger with the word Foundation engraved in gold. Kene exhaled sharply. "We found it." But before they could move, a slow clap echoed from behind them. "Impressive," a cold voice said. They turned and froze. Chief Tund Lawson stood at the foot of the stairs, rainwater dripping from his coat. His lips curled into a cruel smile. "Just like your mother," he said, eyes fixed on Nora. "Always digging where she shouldn't." Kene raised his gun. "You won't walk out of here alive." Lawson laughed, stepping closer. "Neither will you. Your father thought he could hide the evidence. That's why he's dead." Nora's chest tightened. You killed him." Lawson's smile deepened. "He got in my way, just like your mother did." Rage flashed across Kene's face. "You'll pay for this." He fired, but Lawson ducked, the bullet grazing his arm. Lawson fired back, striking Kene in the shoulder. Kene grunted, stumbling. Lawson advanced, gun steady. "Give me the ledger, girl," he ordered, "or I'll end him now." Tears streaked Nora's face. "You'll kill us anyway." Lawson's voice dropped to a hiss. "Maybe, but at least he won't die slowly." Kene coughed, blood staining his shirt. "Don't give it to him." Lawson raised his gun again, but before he could shoot, Nora swung the metal flashlight in her hand, smashing it across his wrist. The weapon clattered to the floor. Kene lunged forward, tackling Lawson. Both men crashed into a shelf, scattering papers and glass. The ledger slid across the floor toward Nora's feet. She grabbed it, but before she could run, a shot rang out. Pain flared through her side. Kene's furious roar echoed through the basement as he disarmed Lawson and fired once. Lawson fell, lifeless. Kene dropped the gun and crawled to Nora, pressing his hand against her wound. "Stay with me," he whispered urgently. "Don't close your eyes." Her voice trembled. "Is he dead?" "Yes," Kene said through clenched teeth. "It's over." But from the shadows above, a slow, deliberate clap broke the silence. "No," came a familiar voice. "It's not." Rose stepped into view, a pistol in her hand. Kane's expression hardened. "Rose, what are you doing?" Her eyes burned with grief and resentment. "You think this is over? I served this family my whole life. I loved your father. He promised me everything. And then your mother took it all. And now her daughter returns to steal what's left." Nora's breath caught. "You worked with Lawson." Rose smiled bitterly. "He gave me what Obiora never would. Power." "Put the gun down," Kene warned. "I'm done taking orders." She spat. The pistol shook in her hand, but it fired anyway. Kene moved instinctively, shielding Nora. The bullet tore through his chest. "No!" Nora screamed, catching him as he fell. Rose aimed again, but another gunshot cracked through the room. She froze, eyes wide, before collapsing. Chief Obiora's personal guard stood at the top of the stairs, his weapon smoking. Kene coughed weakly, blood trickling from his lips. "Get the doctor," he murmured. The guard rushed out. Nora cradled him, tears streaming down her face. "Don't leave me, please." Kene's fingers brushed her cheek. "You're not alone anymore," he whispered. "Don't let them bury the truth again." His hand slipped away. Sirens wailed outside. Blue lights flashed across the rain-soaked estate as the police arrived. Through the chaos, Nora clutched the ledger tightly against her chest. The weight of it was heavy, not just with secrets, but with blood. She turned toward the window, her reflection faint in the glass. For the first time, she saw herself clearly, not as a maid, not as an orphan, but as the lost daughter of Kene Obiora. And the truth was finally hers to expose. A week later, Nora, now going by her real name, Adaora Kene Obiora, stands before her mother's grave. She places the ledger gently on the marble slab, whispering, "They tried to bury you, Mama, but seeds grow in the dark." Behind her, a sleek black car stops. A man in dark glasses steps out, silent. He hands her an envelope, bows slightly, and walks away. Inside the envelope is a photograph of Chief Lawson's body, with a message scrawled in red ink across it. He wasn't the only one. Nora's breath catches. The thunder rolls again in the distance. The storm isn't over. It has only just begun.